Good morning, everyone. We will start in 4 minutes. So you still have time to prepare your hooks and thread, scissors. Hello, everyone. Hi again. I'm here, but just waiting till 12 o'clock. We'll start in a moment. Get ready. If you don't have Masterpieces of Irish Crochet Lace book, physical book, you still can find it for free on antique pattern library.org. I can put a link later after this video. And those of you who like physical book, you can buy this book. It's available on Amazon. So I will go to our lesson, see who is here. Hello, Rebecca. Hello, Nadежда. Здравствуйте. Wendy, Susie, and let's see what questions here. Why do you think that? No. Okay, so the book Antique Pattern Library is a free website with a lot of books, antique books that you can find. All you have to do is to go there. It's antiquepatternlibrary.org and choose Irish Crochet Lace from the main menu. And then all books will be there. They are free. also those of you who are members of Irish Crochet Lab and are members of my Facebook group, there I have this book for download, so you can find it there in files. And if you'll have more questions about this book, those of you who are from my group, you can always ask me. I will guide you and show you where it is. Those of you who want to have physical book, you can get this book on Amazon.com. They have that book there all the time. So now we will get to the lesson. And I saw the comment that came about this thread. This thread is very, very old. I bought this thread in antique store online. The name of that store is Vintage Pesamente. They don't have this thread anymore. I remember I bought the last 10 spools like that. It's silk made in Switzerland. And the number is here, is you can see on the very top 30. 300 meters, but you cannot find this thread anymore. I just use this thread because it's a really nice color when you crochet for lessons or for samples. So I cannot really make a lot from it, but small pieces and samples I can play with. So this is what it turned out to be. It's a really good silk, by the way. It's quite different, behave more like cotton, and in size, in modern size, like if it's if to compare this to pearl cotton, it will be number 8. Just not really 8, between 8 and 12. It's not as thick as 8 and not as fine as 12, so it's somewhere in that area. I will not use this today for crochet because I want you to see stitches, and I will purposely pick up a different thread, and we will crochet with, I will crochet with thread number 10, and here this, you can see the size of it, way different than what it's supposed to be. And if you will use thread 80 or 100, it will be even smaller than this. So what we will need today, we are going to make second wheel, and if you have the book, this is the motif right here. It's on page 10, and the name of that motif, second wheel. Again, I will not follow, I will follow this, of course, I will follow the pattern from here, but you follow me with my video, and then it will be easier for you to understand how it's written in English here, because it's still written with in old way, not the way we write anymore. So let's crochet this motif together. I would say that this motif consists of 2 parts. We'll have to make a ring with picots and a flowerette, whatever you will call it, that look like that. And then we will just place the extra raised motif, little button with picots on top, and we'll sew to it. So let's just begin, okay? So again, I am using thread number 10 for my videos. I never recommend number 10, thread number 10 for Irish crochet, only if it's used for padding cord. But for my video tutorials, when I make videos, it's very easy for you to see what I do and how I crochet. I want you to see stitches. I also recommend for those who are learning, if you are learning how to crochet, and this technique is something new to you, then you can try and choose thread number 10, but only for practicing. And when you feel comfortable with crocheting, picots and other stitches, and over the padding cord, this is when you have to switch to fine thread. Other than that, I don't recommend number 10. So lace, Irish crochet lace, is made with very fine thread. And so please try to stick to fine thread. So this motif, you start the way it's in the book. You have to cut thread for padding cord and wrap around this thread over whatever, over something. Needle like that. For me was what I used, my pinky, and wrap around 3 times. One, two, three. And take it off. So this will be our padding cord. And don't worry if it's a little bit big, because it will be easier pulling on the each side like this, on one end, on another end, and make this ring smaller. So for now, when you start, just I will use my pinky, and you can also use your pinky. You can use pencil or pen, let's say Sharpie. You can use this one. 1, 2, and 3, and take it off. Somehow for me my small finger was way better. 1, 2, 3. And you can choose or hook number 1 millimeter or hook 125 millimeters, whatever is easier for you. And pick up your thread. So over this ring of a padding cord that consists of 3, we will crochet first slip stitch, just to secure our thread around this coil of thread. And we didn't count this. After that, we have to crochet 20 single crochet stitches over this ring. Now, please notice that you will have here short tail from your working thread that we crochet with. We will have 2 ends of padding cord, the one that we wrapped around 3 times. We will crochet over the short tail also, and then we will cut it off at some point, so hang on to this. So we made our first stitch. Now we make 20 single crochet stitches. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and at this moment you can actually, at this point, you can take thread of a padding cord and adjust, make it a little bit smaller, the ring. But let's just first cut off the short tail of a working thread. It will be always next to this long thread and a stitch. It just 10 times crocheting over this is plenty, it's enough. So what we can do, we can just cut it off. We don't need this anymore. And now how you adjust your padding cord. So we can make this ring slightly smaller. So holding onto your stitches, you can, and onto your ring where the stitches are, watch what will happen. So if you will pull slightly on this side, you see what happened to the ring. It's getting smaller. You can also pull on this side. It's then hold your stitches at this end and just slightly pull, and you can see the ring is getting smaller. And don't make it too small right away, because it's always easier to make it smaller but not bigger, especially when you have a lot of stitches. So we have 10 stitches, we need 10 more. So let's continue, and then if we need, we will see that we have gap and we still see padding cord, we can make our ring smaller. So let's continue. We have 10, now we have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and I can already see, for me, I will have to, of course, make my ring smaller. So I will go and pull on a thread. This thread sometimes twists, it's okay, don't worry about those twists. I can just pull it on this side for me. By the way, I didn't mention anything about the length of the padding cord. And as I remember, there's nothing about in the book. 1 meter or 1 yard will be just enough. So I will make it smaller, just a little bit. And I will pull on this side, because you see what's going on with the thread. Slightly pull on this side to fit 5 more stitches. So we have 15 and we need 5 more. 16, 17, 18, 19, 19, and 20. And what I will do, I will just slightly pull on my both ends, because I'm ready to close, and then I will make my stitch, last stitch. I'm sorry, last stitch, like that. So let's just a little bit more pull on one end and on another end. Very little, not too much. And let's make slip stitch. Slip stitch right here. So slip stitch is made. Now let's turn it back on the wrong side, and we can cut short tail of a padding cord. We don't need it. We can just cut it off. Now we have working thread, and in the book it says you have to crochet over the single cord. I find it not really pretty when motif is crocheted over the cord, just over the one strand. So what I do, my padding cord is quite long. I take another end of the padding cord and I fold my padding cord in half from the other end. So this will be the end of my padding cord, and this other tail I just put across between the stitch and between the working thread, right there. And now they want us to make slip stitch. So make slip stitch, and this slip stitch will secure this end. It will hold this here. And then also we will cut this piece off when we will crochet a little bit. I was reading the comments, and Rebecca said that she searched for this book and did not come out. Did not come out. Well, we have this book in my group where you are a member of this group, Irish Crochet Lab Video Tutorials. It's there, and I will look one more time because I saw this book there. So, but it's available for download in my private groups, so you can always find it there. So now we have to crochet over the padding cord only 14 single crochet stitches. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3. Yes, Rebecca, it's in files in the group. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Please make sure you have exactly 14 stitches, that you don't miss any. If you are not sure, it's always easy to count from the back those bumps, those little bumps right here. 1, you see right here, 2, 3, and so on. So make sure you have exactly 14 stitches. What we will do next, they do not tell in this book, but hello, somebody from Israel. I can recognize the writing, but I don't understand what it says. The name written in Hebrew. Okay, so now we take hold stitches and pull on your padding cord to make sure that this 14 single crochet stitches creates like an arch. In the book it says scallop, so I call it arches. In the book it's scallop. Let's call it scallops. So this scallop has to be in the form of an arch. So this is why I call it arch. Now we will have to connect this arch or this scallop to the ring and over the padding cord. So skip on the ring 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. So make sure you have the right stitches count, because here we have stitch where we started. Oh, you know what? I made a mistake here and I have to undo it. I'm very, very sorry. I have to undo totally everything here. Just these 14 stitches. And I'll tell you what I did. I missed 1 stitch. So when you closed, let's start over. We will not start over the rings. The ring is fine. So after you made slip stitch and then chain 1, make first single crochet stitch, in your first stitch on the ring over the padding cord. I always put my padding cord like in front of me so I will not forget. And then grab thread, pull it through that stitch, and here it is. Make your first single crochet stitch right there. Now we can crochet 14 single crochet stitches over the padding cord. I forgot something. Nah, no excuses for me, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. And let's see, somebody said something. Comment. Is the slip stitch and a single crochet in the same stitch? It will not make, I made it in the same stitch, my single crochet stitch. So I made slip stitch and I made single crochet into the same, but you can go and make it into another one. It will not hurt you. You will have, everything will work just fine. I happened to crochet it many times and I go into the same stitch as slip stitch and works great. So you can follow me too, this way that I did. So slip stitch and into the same stitch, single crochet over the padding cord. Now, holding the last stitches, pull on a padding cord slightly until you will have this scallop or arch. And connect this scallop to the centerpiece, to the ring. But first skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3, and insert hook into the both loops, front and back. So skip 3, insert hook into the 4th stitch, and over the padding cord make your single crochet. And stop here for a second because this is what I do. It's something that is not said in the book, but it's important. So we need to make this arch slightly smaller. So again, after you made your single crochet, take this padding cord and slightly pull on it. And of course you will see that this arch becomes smaller. You can put a little bit more pressure onto this, like this. Okay, now after that, let me check questions. Okay, if you misspell something, don't worry about it. I can read, I can understand. Because every time I see some question coming in, I have to go and read it. I don't want to spend time on some just comments that does not relate. I can understand misspelling because I do misspelling a lot, Rebecca. So I understood what you did. It's okay. So you see what I did. I took that additional padding cord that was here and I cut that short tail off. I don't need it anymore. I crocheted over this. It's secured and I can continue crochet. Now we repeat this 4 more times. So first we crochet over the padding cord 14 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. I will stop here. I want to remind you, ladies, yes, you can ask me questions during the lesson. Some of them are coming on my screen as I crochet. I can see that. I will read after I finish at least around a row. If I missed your question, please don't be shy. Don't hesitate to ask one more time. At the very end of lesson, I will come back to read questions and answer So you saw what I did. Again, I made arch. I pulled on a cord. We have to connect to the ring. Skip 1, 2, 3, and single crochet, stitch over the padding cord. Hello, Galia. And over the padding cord, single crochet stitch. Those single crochet stitches have to be quite tight. And again, I will go and adjust a little bit the size of my scallop. Just pull on this slightly and make sure that all of them have the same size. That you will not have one bigger, one smaller. You have to have them all in one size. One more thing that will happen to you when you crochet this motif, it will become at some point a little bit wavy, misbehaving. This is why I am pulling on the padding cord, kind of adjusted that it will not wave. But if it is wavy, not too much, just a little, it's okay. It's all going to normalize after we will crochet the third round. So first round was a ring, second round, and then we will have third round. So we connect it again and we repeat. Again, over the padding cord, we crochet 14 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I always stop at number 5. And what I want to do, I want to read the questions if there are some. Good morning, Renee. McCatherine, hello. And there's one name, I think it's Devora from Israel. I'm not sure, it's probably you. I already said hello to Nadezhda and Galia. Hello, everyone. So I'm glad you're here. I can continue crochet. Renee, I use modern names for stitches. In this book, at the very beginning, since the question came, and I think you all see the question, is the plain stitch a single crochet? So in this book, at the very beginning, we have this table, and all stitches are here. So single stitch, it's a slip stitch, plain stitch, single crochet stitch, and so on. I use our modern terms, okay? So yes, to answer your question, yes, plain stitch is single crochet. So I will continue. You're welcome. So let's crochet. 5, I need more. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Again, we make sure the last stitch, don't lose it. I always stretch it slightly and then adjust in my padding cord. I just pull on it to create this arch or scallop. So in the book they call it scallop. I just used to arch because it reminds me of arch. And again we connect to this ring by skipping first 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and into the fourth stitch, single crochet stitch, or is in the book plain stitch. Make sure that stitch is tight and make sure that each scallop or arch the same size. So I pull a little bit again. Sometimes I like to repeat myself many times. It just it's a habit from being a teacher before in the past. I know that when you repeat something many times, your students will remember that. So I hope it's not bothering anybody. Again, we crochet over the padding cord 14 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Again, connect to the ring, skip 1, 2, 3, and into the fourth stitch, make single crochet stitch. Don't forget to make those single crochet stitches also over the padding cord. And adjusting my scallop so that all of them will be the same size. And you see what I was talking about? This is what I was talking about. Look how wavy it is. It's okay, it will be totally normal later. You see, this one is not wavy anymore. And we have to make one more scallop. Again, crochet 14 single crochet stitches over the padding cord. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Now we will connect this to the ring. 1, 2, 3, and right there where our slip stitch was, we can make our single crochet. Remember we made first that stitch that I forgot. We have single crochet stitch, so we don't make single crochet stitch here. So we skip at the last scallop. We skip 1, 2, and 3, and you will see very distinctly this slip stitch here. Single crochet stitch is right there, just next to it, and here's slip stitch. So insert your hook in the slip stitch, drop your padding cord, and make slip stitch to secure, like that. So I will stretch that stitch just to make sure that my last scallop have the same size. I'll pull on a cord slightly to make sure everything look just right. So again I will come back at the last, after your last scallop, we skip 3 stitches and make a slip stitches into the slip stitch of the round of the centerpiece and padding cord in the back. And now we're ready to crochet the last round. The last round is quite interesting. What we will do, I will jump ahead and tell you that when we will crochet the last round, we will have picots on each scallop, and we will have to skip stitches in the indentation. Here's our indentation between 2 scallops. So when we will crochet over 1 scallop, we will not crochet through all stitches. We will have to skip 5 stitches here, 2 stitches at the end of the scallop, that 1 stitch single crochet here, and 2 stitches on the other scallop. And by doing that, we will connect 2 scallops this way. And you'll see how it will happen. It's very easy and it's fun to make. But the first scallop is done slightly different here. So we make, after the last slip stitch, we connected last scallop. What probably it's not in the book. Let me look. I will look just to be sure. Hold on a minute. I just want to make sure I'm doing. And by the way, they call it second row. I called it third row. Okay, they don't say it. So what I'm going to do right now, they didn't tell you in the book. I just don't see it. But what I did to make it just right. So your first scallop, first 2 stitches, into first 2 stitches on a scallop, I will go and make slip stitches, 1 and 2. Okay. Just to follow the direction later, because if I will start doing it right now, it will shift everything for me. And so this is what happened when I did it first time, and a lot of people was calling me, writing me email, I cannot make this motif. So first scallop, slip stitches, 2 slip stitches, and then pick up your padding cord, and we will crochet all the time the last round over the padding cord. So next we will make, following the pattern, over the padding cord, 2 single crochet stitches, 1, and we crochet into the back loops, 1 and 2, 2 single crochet stitches, and I will stop here. Your padding cord will be here, right from here coming, and you would see it will be visible. Don't worry about it. You will not see that at the end, because our last and first scallops will be connected, and that little piece of padding cord over there, you will never notice. It's okay. So the length of it will be just of the height of those 2 stitches, slip stitches that we made. So far, do we have questions or not? So I will just repeat that it will be clear to everybody what I did. In the book, they don't have first slip stitches. First 2 slip stitches, it's something I added here. So you made last scallop, you made your slip stitch, and then you make 2 slip stitches on the first scallop. Then you pick up your padding cord and crochet following this pattern. 2 single crochet stitches that I already made. Now picot. For picot we make chain 3, 2 and 3, and we close picots with slip stitch. After that we make 3 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, 3, and again picot, 1, 2, 3, chain of 3, close picot with slip stitch. And don't forget, we crochet over the padding cord into the back loops. Crocheting into the back loops will give us this beautiful ridge over here. So after the picot, 3 single crochet stitches again over the padding cord, don't forget. Over the padding cord into the back loops. 1, 2, 3, and picot, chain 3 and close picot with slip stitch. At the end we make 2 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, like that. So let's just review. Now after this we will crochet exactly the same way the rest of the scallops. We will make 2 single crochet stitches, picot, 3 single crochet, picot, 3 single crochet, picot, 2 single crochet. So on the sides we have 2 single crochet stitches and each picot separated. Between each picot we have 3 single crochet stitches. The book is available on Amazon. I just bought a copy. Okay. Yeah, I know that that book is available on Amazon. And it's not very expensive as I remember. I think it's probably $21 or $22, probably even not that. So what we do next? Remember, I told you we have to skip 5 stitches. We have to skip 2 stitches here, the stitch in the middle, and 2 stitches on that side, on the other picot. So right away you can jump and go count 1, 2 picots, oh, I'm sorry, stitches, 1, 2 stitches on the next scallop, skip all this, 5 stitches here, and go into the back loop of next stitch of the scallop, and now we connect 2 scallops with a single crochet. So basically what we do, we brought those 2 scallops closer together, and by doing this the wave that we have here will disappear. It will go away. This is why I told you not to worry about it. So next scallop we crochet exactly the same way into the back loops, over the padding cord, and following the pattern. 2 single crochet stitches first. I already made 1, right? Then picot, then 3 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, and 3. Picot, 1, 2, 3, chain 3, slip stitch. Again 3 single crochet, 1, 2, and 3. Picot, 1, 2, 3, and close picot with slip stitch. And at the end 2 single crochet stitches, 2 single crochet, 1, 2. Now I would advise you sometimes to look on the back and see if your padding cord is behaving well. If it's not, if it's a little bit slightly visible, you have to pull on it. Also, by pulling on a padding cord also helps you to keep your motif flat and remove the wave, that ruffle effect. So here it is. This is how it will look like. Now we'll do exactly the same as we did before. Connect second and third scallops. We skip 2 stitches here, 1 in the middle, and 2 stitches on the next scallop. So 5 stitches in the indentation. We can count it, or we just like 1, 2, 3. This is 3rd stitch right there, that single crochet stitch we made into the ring, and then 2 stitches on the scallop. We go into the 3rd stitch over the padding cord and make 2 single crochet, picot, and we repeat all this process around the motif. One, two, three single crochet, picot. Picots can be a little bit longer if you like. You can make 4 stitch, chain 4. Again, 3 single crochet stitches. Feel like I miscounted something here. No, I'm doing fine. And picot. If you have one or less stitches sometimes one or less, one more or one less stitch somewhere, please don't panic about it. You don't have to unravel an entire motif because of one stitch. No one will notice that one stitch, believe me. If it's miscalculation of 2 stitches, 3 and more than one, then yes, but one stitch no one will notice. So I like to stop at every scallop and pull on my padding cord because I can feel it even that it was there. Hello, Daniel. I don't know how to say the name. I'm sorry if I pronounce name wrong. Most of you I know, some of you are new to me and just I don't know how to pronounce some names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, the same thing. Go into the next scallop, back loop over the padding cord and crochet. First 2 single crochet stitches, and make sure when you connect 2 scallops that you don't see padding cord between. So if you see it right away before you go anywhere, pull on a padding cord slightly so that that padding cord is not seen anywhere between. You don't want to show that padding cord anywhere. So I made 2 single crochet and picot now. Believe me, those of you who right now crochet with me like I do this motif with thread number 10, lady, please take fine thread and try this motif with fine thread. That motif will look so much better. I don't like number 10, to crochet with number 10. It depends what you crochet. Some things you have to crochet with number 10, but not Irish crochet lace. Unless you really, don't see very well or it's not easy for you to crochet with finer thread. I cannot push you and can tell you, no, you must do that. Of course, I cannot recommend being an instructor of Irish crochet and recommend number 10 to crochet with. It's nonsense. Lace must be done correctly. But those people who want to learn technique, not everybody can crochet with fine thread, so. So again, I will stop for a second, I will pull on my padding cord. Make sure it's on the back, look nice and neat. And continue crochet, connecting scallops this time. I sometimes don't even count, I just look at the second scallop, right away go into the right stitch and crochet 2 single crochet, picot, then 3 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. You can ask me questions right now. I'm almost done here at this round. Do you have questions about this last round? Please ask questions. You know, this is why I do these live videos, that I can explain things while we're here live together. You also can ask questions, those of you who join later or didn't join me for live session. You can always come back, watch the video tutorial in recording and comment there and ask questions there. I will receive email that somebody commented on the video, and I could answer your questions there. So now I am at the very end. I am finished with my last scallop. Now we don't need padding cord anymore, and we are not going to crochet the last 2 stitches. We just will make slip stitch into the 1, 2, or in a second or in a third stitch in the first scallop. I will go into the second. So when you finish the last scallop, drop your padding cord and make slip stitch right into the first scallop. Pick up second stitch from the bottom and make nice and tight slip stitch here. This is how it will look like. It's connected. Okay, so I will stop here for a second. I'll put it down, let you crochet, and let me read the question that came. Hello, Lori. Hello, Nettie, Prince. Okay, after making the single crochet into the 4th single crochet on the ring, do you chain 1? Why we're talking, Catherine, you missed something. Why we're talking about? Oh, okay, yeah, just a second. I just lost it. After making single crochet into 4th ring, 4th single crochet on the ring, do you? No, I do not do chain 1. You don't have to do chain 1. No. So, Catherine, again, so you made your single crochet into the 4th stitch of the ring, and then just crochet over the padding cord 14 stitches, no chain 1. Just 14 crochet stitches. Okay, so now I'm coming back to my motif. I made my last slip stitch. I can cut thread off. Oh, my scissors need to be sharp. And I will show you what to do with padding cord. So here I am. I finished with my motif. I cut my thread off, slip stitch here nice and tight. Now let's come back, turn our stitch on the wrong side. Don't make a mistake that some people do. Don't cut your padding cord yet. If you will cut it right here, it will come out eventually and will unravel your stitches, so you cannot do that. You can do 2 things. You can or weave in this padding cord inside the scallops or the ring, which will be quite difficult. So we will do the easy way. We will sew a little bit over that padding cord, the distance just somewhere to the ring, to the height. So we will weave in probably 8 millimeters. And I'll show you how we'll do that. And only then we can cut that piece, okay? So let me show you how to do this. So pick up tapestry needle. It will be nice to have needle that is fine with a good and big eyelet. So thread the needle. If you're using very fine thread, use needles for beading. So we're going on the back. First, from the front, I would like to make sure that everything look nice and neat at the very end and you don't see the transition of your last, where the last stitch was, that everything look neat. This is important. So first thing I will do, I will make my, I will go into the stitch next on the back, just to make sure that my single slip stitch is secured here. This is my first step. And now I will sew around this padding cord, inserting this needle into the stitches below. So you go with your needle under that padding cord, make sure you grab some stitches underneath. And you do this all the way to the ring. Somewhere we'll stop here at this point. And please don't ignore this step because later this will bite you. If you will not take good care of your padding cord at the end, if you will not finish it good, your it will not unravel right away. But if you're making something, you're spending a long time, right? Also, you will wash your piece and then you will wear it if it's an outfit. So the more you wear it, the more you wash it, those threads that are not finished correctly, they will come out. They will unravel your piece and your work. You don't want that to happen. This is why you have to take a really good care of the weaving in your thread and taking good care of the padding cord also. And notice that I sew around that padding cord very, very tight. I can basically finish here. I think I sewed enough. So now I just sewed to the very top of the ring. I finished here. And this is when you can take scissors and cut the excess of the rest of your padding cord. You don't need this anymore. That's it. But, let's still continue with this thread. Okay? And we can weave in this thread into the ring. I will write in later after this video, after I will publish it on YouTube, I will write in description this pattern in modern English. The way every step that I did today, when I was crocheting, in description you can take a look later. I would look next day because I have things to do, so I will make today description for you. So, okay, here is my motif. It's not finished yet, so here it is. Now we have to make a little button with picots. And in the book it says you can do this button exactly the same way as we did first one, over the padding cord of 3. I will show you how you can make the same motif and crochet over the, how to make this center. When I will make this button, I will show you how to do it in a little bit different and way easier way. Okay, so let's just go and do that. So I will need padding cord again. So cut padding cord, not very long, probably, let me see, it's a little bit long. I have a little bit too long, but it's easier to work this way. I would go with 20 centimeters, probably 25. In inches it will be, let's say 25, 9 inches, 9.5, something like that. This is already folded in half length, so twice. So if it's 20 centimeters or 25, it will be, you have to cut thread 40 or 50 centimeters. If you measuring in inches, cut thread 18 or 20 inches long and fold it in half. And let me show you how I will do this button. And you can actually use this method to crochet centerpiece here. So I fold my padding cord in half and take this end with a loop and go around clockwise, fold it this way. So I'll put it on a table, just show you what I'm doing because it's easier to see. So here's my padding cord. I'll take that loop, fold it in half, and clockwise turn around like this. And I will start crochet from this point right here. So let's pick up our thread, working thread. Pick up this padding cord, fold it like that. And we have to crochet 20 stitches, and each and all those 20 stitches will have picots. And I'll show you how to make those. So here's our loop, folded padding cord. So insert the hook into that loop like that. This is how your hook will be positioned. And pick up working thread and make your first slip stitch to secure this area. I don't even count that stitch, okay? Here it is. Now we will crochet around this place with basically four strands. We have the loop, this one, 1, 2, and 2 more strands. So instead of 3, I have 4. And you can adjust by pulling on this, make this ring smaller or bigger. Way easier than with 3 strands. So I already know my size of the ring I need. I'll pull on a cord slightly, and I will crochet single crochet stitches around it with picots. So to make it with picots, you crochet first 4 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you make picot. 1, 2, 3, chain 3, and close picot with slip stitch. Again, 4 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Picot. 1, 2, 3, chain 3, and close picot with slip stitch. One, again 2, 3, and 4. Let me stop here for a moment. So what will happen when you crochet around this? So here's our starting thread. It's a working thread, the short tail of a working thread. You cannot cut this because you will unravel the end. So just it can hang in here, or you can crochet around it, and I will show in a minute how I will crochet around this. Now here's our long part of padding cord, the one that we made a circle with, and this one you can start decreasing the size of it, by pulling on this padding cord like this. I always hold my last stitches like that to secure them, and if you pull on the cord, look what happened to the ring. It's getting smaller. It's getting smaller. If it's not working right, you can hold with all fingers, just pinch it here and pull a little bit. It'll get smaller. But don't go too fast, don't close it yet. It's always better to measure the size of the ring with the ring of the flower, so that the size will be the same. You see, I'm done. I don't have to go anywhere else. I already have the right size, and I will continue crochet. So we need to have 5 picots, each picot separated by 4 single crochet stitches. So I already made my 4 stitches here. Again, picot, and if you want, you can take that short tail of your working thread and move it on the opposite side along the padding cord, along the ring, and crochet over this piece. That way you don't have to worry about this short tail later. You crochet around it some like 10 or 8 stitches, and it's enough. You can cut that off and don't have to worry about weaving in any extra ends. So again, after the picot, 4 single crochet stitches. 2, 3, and 4. And picot. 1, 2, 3. Again, if you like picots longer, you can make chain of 4 or 5 stitches. So here we are. We have 4 picots. We need to make 1 more picot, and that 1 more picot we will make after 4 stitches. So last 4 stitches, 2, 3, and 4. Now this padding cord kind of jumping here to the front. For me it's okay. I can just pull it and move it on the back. And I have just a slightly gap in here. You don't want that gap. So what I will do, I will just hold right here and pull on a padding cord just to make sure that that gap disappears. And do it very little, not too much, because you don't want your ring to be too small. You can always take the motif, put it together. If it's too big, you still can continue pulling on it, just to make sure it is the right size. And after that, you stop. So I made my last 4 single crochet stitches. I will make last picot, 1, 2, and 3. Finish picot with a slip stitch. And we need to make a slip stitch closing the ring, finishing the ring. So pick up your first stitch here on the ring and make your slip stitch. Make sure that your padding cord on the back. So first, before you make your slip stitch, make sure to put padding cord on the back, slip stitch. Now you can cut thread off. And let's deal with the rest of the threads. So pull that out. And let's look carefully what we have in here. So this is this thread that I just finished, slip stitch. We will need to weave it in. We already crocheted around this short tail. We can cut it off. We don't need that one. So you see on the back also everything look nice and clean. And we don't need this padding cord. We crocheted around it. It has 4 times, it is long enough to cut off. It's actually hidden in the button. When we crochet around the button, it's you don't have to sew over the padding cord like we did for the motif, okay? So we can be very secure here and cut that off. But before you cut it off, let's just check one more time, just to be sure that this ring, the same size as the ring on the flower. So you just put it together, and if you don't see the ring from the bottom, then you're fine. I can see a little bit, so what I will do, I will pull on my padding cord just slightly. And now I can just sew together 2 pieces. So I will cut my padding cord off because I don't need this anymore. And this last thread, don't cut it off yet. We will use this thread to sew 2 pieces together. So again, thread the needle. Which can be a task. So thread your needle, and then let's position it in such a way that those picots will be visible. They will be right in the center where the arch is. Okay, and we will sew the motif. So I will take my needle and poke through to the back, and pull thread through, just to make sure it's all here. And now going from the back to the front and sew together those two parts. Just make sure that when you sew, you don't show the, you see how I do that? I go from from back to the front. Make sure that the stitches that you use to sew with are not visible anywhere in the front. On the back, it's kind of not a big deal, but still on the back, you also want to have a neat job. Now, before we will finish our lesson, please think of a questions you want to ask me. Is everything that I crocheted today cause any problems, difficulties? How this motif work for you? If you have questions, you can ask while I'm sewing. Our next lesson from this book will be next week on Thursday at the same time. And those of you who joined me today and don't know about Tuesday lessons, on Tuesday we work with the Japanese book 128 Motifs. It's motifs. It's a book with diagrams only. Even if it's in Japanese language, it's okay. We still can read diagrams, and the diagrams are made for antique motifs. All this book is, all those motifs in that book are from antique books that were written 100 something plus years ago. And this book is amazing. So I also have lessons on Tuesday, also the same time at 12 o'clock, and we crochet from that book. Those of you who missed lessons from that book, just go to my YouTube channel and look at my playlists. Playlists have names as a book. So if you're looking for the lessons from 128 motifs, just look for playlists that have name 128 motifs. And if you are looking for previous lessons on the masterpieces of Irish crochet, the book that we're working on today on Thursdays, playlist also have the same name. So make sure it's neat when you sew it. And when you sew on the back, also look once in a while that you don't see your thread anywhere, that it just look nice and neat. Those of you who sew a lot, it's not a big deal for you. So you see how I do that? I make sure that my stitches go over those little bumps here on the ring. That way you will not see your thread that you're sewing with anywhere else. So just weave in this way and sew that way. This is how you accomplish neat work. Make sure to look through the back and front. I made it look easy. It is easy. uh, Believe me, you will crochet one motif, you probably will struggle a little bit, it's okay, but then the second and third and so on, you will just make them very easy and fast. Everything will work out really good. Never afraid, crochet difficult things. Those books, old books, antique books, they're like a puzzle to me. I remember my first time when I discovered Irish crochet and I found all those books. I was buying them like crazy from Amazon and from every store I can, antique stores. My first book was actually I bought from antique store, and this was this book that we're working on, masterpieces. And when I started looking at it at home, reading it, I couldn't understand a thing. But my English also was not very good at that time. I just moved to the United States. It was a little bit more than 20 years ago. So it was a puzzle that it's easier for you because I make videos for you. Okay, I'm done here. I can go on the back and weave in this thread that it will not unravel anywhere and will not undo my motif. So the front look neat, all you needed. This is what was our goal for today. Now we go on the back and weave in this thread into the ring, into those stitches on the back. And if you cannot weave in, push the needles through the more stitches, just 2-3 stitches at the time, and just at least weave in one round, just to make sure that all your thread is secure and your motif will never unravel. That's what you want. It's easier to weave in with beads, with beading needles, with fine thread. I just cannot use beading needles with this thread. It's a little bit too bulky and big. Also, I'm going to have a video tutorial. I hope I can do it on this Saturday, this weekend. And I will be talking about thread, different thread that we can use in Irish crochet lace. So it's all. You weave in your thread, you can cut it off. And your back also look nice and neat. This is also very important. Make sure it's look nice here. And this is the front. And as I showed you before, you can see the sizes of two different sizes of thread. This is somewhere between 8 and 12. It's really fine thread. I was using crochet hook 0.75 millimeters, and this one is number 10. And I used for the lesson crochet hook 1 millimeter. When you're learning, this is what you have to use. But then later, if you are familiar what stitches where, this is when you can go into fine, really, really fine thread. And you will see it's not so difficult. But for fine thread, please get yourself good magnifying glasses or magnifying glass that can be attached to your table. Okay, ladies, let me know if you have question. I have here something. Yes, McCatherine, the how to sew around the padding cord on the back, I found about, and I also, when I was learning Irish crochet, I didn't really know what is padding cord, right, and how to fix it, how to start, how to finish. I happened to buy Japanese book, and you know what? I believe this was this book, 128 motifs. On the very back of the book, all Japanese books have those finishing techniques. And let me show you this. Actually, no, it's not in this book. they do have like pictures like that, step-by-step picture. And I saw that at the very end, here's the end of the padding cord. They just cut it off. So it's not from this book I learned. I have another Japanese book, and they show how to do this just exactly how I showed it to you. So if you cannot finish other ways, and I do have another way of finishing it, you can see it in my lessons, previous lessons. On Tuesdays, 128 motifs, I show a different technique of finishing with padding cord. So this sewing, and you can see here it is, but it's so neat and you cannot really see with other stitches, right? So this is the goal, to make sure that it's all sewed very well, really, really tight, and then you can cut it off, it will not come out. It's safe, and you have made something beautiful. So do we have questions for me? If not, I will finish my lesson here. Our next lesson next Thursday at 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock American Standard, Central Standard Time. So please check with your country if you live elsewhere in a different country. But if you subscribe to my channel, you will have notification that I'm live and you can join me. If you didn't have chance to join me at this time and that day, you can always watch those videos in recording. They're not going anywhere. They will be there. So this is all. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Please like my videos. It helps me a lot tremendously. Like my videos. Later, when you will watch them in a recording, there will be a little bit of advertisement there, but just don't worry about it. Lessons are there. And let me know if you have more questions by posting questions later under the video. And that's it. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me, and see you next Thursday for the same lessons, and we will crochet third wheel. Goodbye, everyone. Stay safe.